Hello everyone. As many of you will know, I love sport, both playing and watching it. And one of the things that's given me most pleasure in my time as Headmaster at Lincoln College is seeing how sport has developed. I have here, as you can see, Mr. Casey and Miss Thompson. I'm going to discuss with them sport at the school and how it has developed both recently and their plans for the future. So Mr. Casey, nice to see you. Perhaps you could tell me what the underlying principles are that define sport at the school.
Now, we try and make a scenario where it's the best fit for everybody. That can be challenging sometimes. We push our A teams, so we look to try and have kind of an excellence culture where we have a lot of kind of high-end players playing at that level in cup competitions, representing the school across the board in fixtures. But likewise, we want to have an inclusive environment where we can have players, lower down teams, getting the opportunity to represent the school in competitive fixtures, particularly in year 7, 8 and 9.
Good. And how do you see sport developing in the next few years?
Yeah, that's a challenging question, I suppose, in a lot of ways, because it's happening and evolving very, very quickly. Certainly, I think we continue to do what we're doing, because I think we're doing it well. But equally, for example, there's a demand for girls' football now, which traditionally, or hockey or netball were the kind of prime girls' sports. Cricket in the summer term. But girls football now has just taken off, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I think there's going to be more of that in the school. I think there's going to be an opportunity to push some of our minor sports. So we do basketball, we do rugby, cross country and so on, and that's kind of growing organically over the last couple of years. We've gone from maybe 5-6 fixtures per term per year to almost 10. So if you equate the fixtures bar maybe the cup competitions with the A teams, there's actually more and more demand and more fixtures in those minor sports. So I think it will be continuing what we're doing, managing the programme as it is, looking to continue to progress, looking to win more, hopefully as well at the top end. But also I think you're going to find more minor sports developing and more opportunity for children to play in that kind of a competitive environment.
So look, when we come to Maddie, we'll talk a bit more about girls' football, but I know you love rugby, and I know we're mainly a football school, but I know you love rugby. Perhaps you could just tell us a bit about rugby in the school and how that has changed.
Yeah, well, I remember when I came here first, I kind of, you know, when we were looking at the programme and where we were going, what we were doing as a school, you said, you know, it's hockey in the second term, it's football in the first term, and cricket. And I said, well, is there any rugby? And you said, there isn't really any rugby. You know, it's not something that there's a huge demand for, and kind of I took it as a labour of love to get it started. So we have a rugby team in each year group. We have about 20 boys, and it's boys rugby we do, and we do some touch rugby as a club for girls. But and it's progressed well. I mean, looking at the schools we play, we're quite flexible. We played over 2 terms, but yeah, I think rather than it kind of decreasing, because there is worries, you know, parents worry about the children playing rugby. We manage it in a way that they get to train once a week, they get to play every 2 or 3 weeks, and our success is quite high. I mean, we're looking at about a 60% win ratio at the moment for our rugby teams across the board, and our first 15, which are our senior team, is actually really strong. I think they lost 1 game last season. So I see rugby in particular as in a nice it's a stepping stone to a nice pathway. And for me, it certainly gets me out of the office more.
I was going to say, if you play touch rugby with him, can you still keep up with him, or are you going to get too old for that?
I'd like to say yes, as Maddie sits and laughs, but I'm a shadow of my former self. But yeah, I'll step in and out, and when I get a bit tired or I feel like my pupils run around me, I kind of stop and go, okay, I had a bit of a bad hamstring, I'll make some excuse. Yeah.
So turning to girls' sports, perhaps Maddie, talk a bit about how you promote both excellence and inclusivity within girls' sport.
Yeah, I mean, girls' football has increased massively recently. So we've got all girls in like 7 to 9 playing in P lessons, which has been amazing. Just that kind of participation for all. But in addition to that, we've also been in some competitions. The under 15 girls actually got to a quarter final. To say that we've only just started football is amazing. And I think having someone like Jessie in year 13 who's got a contract with Arsenal has been a huge role model for the girls, and they're kind of seeing footballers, you know, maybe their main sport going forward, but obviously at the moment, hockey and netball are still what we're focused on, but I think in the next few years that may change.
So you say it may change. Where is football going to fit? Is it going to be a Christmas term sport? Is it going to be an Easter term sport? Is it going to compete with cricket in the summer? Or is it just going to be in every term?
It's a real tricky one. I mean, at the moment, we're putting it in all 3 terms
Sure.
because it is that minor sport. So we're sort of training weekly, doing it each half term in P lessons. I think the girls may prefer if it went into the summer term, but we've got the obviously traditional crickets where the pitches don't want to be ruined and things like that in summer terms. So I think that's a big question that schools will have to look
Sure.
at. But we obviously don't want to lose the hockey and netball. So it's that challenge of fitting it all in. But it's amazing that the girls are getting an opportunity to play so many sports.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, we're coming to the end of the year, we played close to 1,000 fixtures against other schools and entered various tournaments. So what have been the highlights of this year, both for girls and boys sport? Perhaps we could do girls sport first.
For me, the highlight has to be the under-15 girls hockey team. I mean, they've actually been unbeaten for 2 years, which I think is probably the first time I've ever had that in the school. And what's really exciting as they go up into year 11 next year, it probably means we're going to have the best first 11 girls hockey team we've ever had. So I think that's really exciting, and let's hopefully keep that unbeaten run.
And the boys?
Yeah, and as well, I mean, with the girls' football, they've played about nearly 70 fixtures, haven't they? So, I mean, that's been in itself, a big achievement. The boys' sport, I mean, percentage in terms of wins and how we've done, has been pretty consistent in our main sports. We had a good hockey term last term across the board. Our year 7 and 8, particularly our very sporty year groups. But I suppose in terms of genuine successes, it will be the boys' football. Our year 7s on the 12s got to the England schools, the S for the ESFA semi-final. The year 8s got to the ESFA quarter-final and the ISFA Shield final, wasn't it? Yeah. And then under 14s, obviously, we had a big trip to the Hawthorns there 2 weeks ago, just before half term, where they got to the England schools final, which was an unbelievable achievement. And we sent a busload of children up there. An amazing event. So for us to get, that was the first final that we've got, the first national football final we got to. Unfortunately, we lost, as you know.
And why has football become so strong? Are we now establishing reputations so that good footballers are looking to come to the school?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I mean, it's a case of putting the coaching staff in place, which we have. We've got a really strong staff, which mirror across to the girls' football as well. And that's why girls' football has been quite easy to fit in there, because the boys has been so strong. But also, I think success breeds success. So we've had some really talented players. I mean, if you look at our A teams now, we've got 2 or 3 academy players in each team, and then everyone else are playing high standard of club football, and even dropping down, the depth is improving. So I think, I think it's been something that's been progressing well over the last kind of certainly 5-6 years, and we've had more and more children come, and I've spoken to parents, particularly of boys and now of girls as well, asking about football, but they are very much aware of, you've had this success. I believe the football is getting stronger and stronger, So it's certainly a nice train to be on, and long may it continue. If we continue to provide the coaching and the facilities, it will work.
So just to finish on, let's just mention sports tours, because I know they're incredibly popular. And I know, for example, the Manchester City tour, when it was advertised, sold out in a matter of hours. Perhaps you could talk a bit about the tours we've been on in the last year or so, and tours planned for future. Perhaps, Maddie, I know you went to Eindhoven last year, and I joined you on that trip. So perhaps you could kind of kick us off.
Yeah, so we went to Eindhoven for girls hockey and boys football, a hugely successful trip. Obviously, Holland is the best country in the world of hockey, so it's amazing to do that. And then obviously we've just been to Manchester with the boys football as well. Amazing to watch City lift the trophy. If you don't support City, it was still an amazing experience for the students.
And you sit about front row seats.
I mean, it was phenomenal. You had Jack Grealish in the warm-up shouting at the kids and things like that, saying hello to them. So it was amazing. And we've got an upcoming trip in April. We're going to Malaga for boys football and girls netball, which would be really good to get some netball in as well.
Try to keep our kids from going on the pitch during the pitching during the Manchester City game.
So broadly, looking to the future, would it be the case that you'll try and run an annual trip to somewhere like Malaga or Holland, and then maybe an annual trip to something like Manchester? Or what are you?
We've been talking about a programme, haven't we?
I think in an ideal world, now COVID's sort of done, is to get a 3-year plan going. So we do Holland, which would be like the girls hockey and the boys football. And then we do a Manchester one for football and just more locally, and then do one that includes the girls netball and the boys football. So we'll see how Malaga goes. Obviously, it's quite hard to find a netball location in Europe. So it'll be interesting to see how it is.
Yeah, because we've had some lovely trips over the years. I mean, we did a cricket and netball a few years back to Barbados and so on. But the main aim is to try and have regularity and keep them European based, really, unless something massive comes up. So yeah, it's that conundrum versus keeping the balance with what sports we hit each year. Generally, the football ones, girls and boys. I mean, that Manchester trip was girls and boys football, obviously, which was fantastic. It was the first one we've done with both. They tend to sell out very, very quickly. But I mean, we money at 80, 85 now for Malaga. So huge success. But I think the trips that we do, what we try and do is, rather than it be, kind of go over and play a match or whatever, we try, if we can, link up with clubs. We work with Inspire Sports, who do a really good job linking up the clubs. So the academy coaches coach the children when they're there. So I think that kind of bespoke thing where you actually are getting something out of the trips and tours is really important. But I think, that program where we can rotate it each year, we'll certainly have one, if not two, maybe a big one and a small one, or a big one and a small one, but it will go that way.
Great. Well, as you can see, it's been good to talk to you both. And as you can see, sport is in great shape at the school, and will, I'm sure, go from strength to strength. And I should just thank you, the parents, for all the support you give, because without that support, the sport wouldn't be nearly as successful. So thank you very much, both of you.
Yeah, thanks.